Yo, what is up everyone? I'm back again with another review. Today we'll be checking out the ATK A9 Mini Plus. This is ATK's new flagship mouse with the latest PixArt sensor. Now, just a quick disclaimer, this mouse was sent out to me by ATK, but of course that doesn't affect my thoughts and opinions for this review. Now to start things off, let's take a look at what's inside the box. Over here you have your standard ATK A9 box. This one is obviously for the A9 Mini. You also get a USB Type-C cable, a set of universal grip tapes, and some dot skates, which I personally like, but I also do wish that they did added the full-size skates as well as the regular grip tape that they used to have for most if not all of their mice before, some documentation, and your 8K polling dongle. The build quality on the ATK A9 Mini is honestly still very good and very solid out of the box. I think that ATK has been doing really well when it comes to their build quality and QC. I haven't really had any issues with the mice that I've tested from them lately, and it's just really good in my opinion. I haven't really experienced any rattling, flexing, or creaking on the A9 Mini Plus. There is, however, some slight button wobbling, but it's nothing really major in my opinion. It doesn't really affect how I play. Maybe to some people it would, but honestly it doesn't really matter too much for me personally. And there's also no switch grinding, which is a big plus. Even though it has some button wobbling on the mouse 1 and mouse 2, at least there is no switch grinding, which is really good. And just overall a very good build quality in my opinion. Now looking at the bottom layout, over here on the right side you have your on and off switch, left side you have your DPI switch. You also get these two really nice full-size skates at the top and bottom. You also have your ring skate for your sensor. Now the skates on the ATK A9 Mini Plus have only been tested on glass. This is the Abyss Gaming Gear Scarlet or Ruby, whatever you want to call it. And I will probably be making a review, or it's most likely me sharing my experience from transitioning to cloth to a glass pad, since this is my first time using glass. But basically for my experience with the A9 Mini skates on the Abyss Scarlet is that it has this weird pulling feeling when lifting it off the glass pad. Not sure if it's static buildup or anything. I also would like to mention that these are the stock full-size skates on the mouse, and it just has this weird pulling feeling when lifting it off. I do think that the skates are pretty decent on glass, but also are very scratchy. Like I said, I haven't tested these on cloth since both of these, the mouse and the mouse pad, came at the same time, so I just wanted to test them at the same time. But yeah, that's basically my experience with the skates on the Abyss Gaming Gear Scarlet. Now as for the coating, in my opinion, the coating does feel very good. It is pretty similar to Endgame Gear's coating, which is a big plus in my opinion. It does get grippy when your hands get slightly warm and moist, which is also a big plus since my hands do get pretty moist when I game. That's just a me thing basically. But overall, it is a very good coating and I really do like the coating on this mouse a lot. Now moving on to the performance, I have only tested the A9 Mini Plus on Kovacs on the Visco Season 2 benchmark since my internet has been really terrible lately and I basically can't even play Valorant or any FPS games in general, so I have only been playing Kovacs mostly, if not every single time. But basically this mouse is using the PixArt 3955 sensor, which is a new sensor, but I also think it's similar to the Viper V3 Pro sensor. I'm not 100% sure about that, but basically the sensor doesn't really feel any different compared to the previous 3950 sensor. It isn't really worse nor better than the 3950, and overall just has a pretty similar sensor feel. But in my opinion, it is still too early to tell since it's the first time I've actually tried a 3955 sensor, so we'll have to wait and see if maybe other brands out there or maybe other ATK releases have a better 3955 sensor implementation. But right now I would say that they are very similar to one another for the 3955 and the 3950. But moving on to the switches, these are using the ATK custom optical switches, which I'm not really too sure what they actually are since I haven't really opened up the mouse. But based on experience, they do feel very light and spammable, which I do like, but I do also wish that they have a little bit more feedback, but personally I don't really mind it at all. The scroll wheel is also very light, which is also nice for some people. Me personally, I like having a little bit more of a stiffer scroll wheel, not too stiff like on the OP1 8KV2, but just generally a little bit more feedback on my scroll wheel, just so I don't actually actuate it when I slightly touch the scroll wheel or whatever. But basically, the mouse does overall feel really good to play with, and I do recommend trying out this mouse. Now moving on to the shape. The shape is basically just a smaller ATK A9 or a smaller GPX Superlight, and it's also very similar to the GPX 2C, or at least based on elo shape, since I haven't really tried the 2C, but I do assume that they have quite a similar feel since I've tried the A9 before, and basically the A9 is just a GPX clone. But in my opinion, the A9 Mini does feel better to use than a regular GPX shape. It is also much better for small / medium-sized hands, and even with my hand size, which is 21 by 10 centimeters, the mouse still feels great with my fingertip claw hybrid. As you can see here, this is basically how I grip my mouse. And overall, just a very good and comfortable shape, and arguably better than the standard GPX shape. And comparing it to the X2 Mini Crazy Light that I have over here, they are quite different from one another, but also slightly similar. As you can see, the X2 Mini has much of a lower button height over here at the front compared to the A9 Mini. And as for the bottom, they are also just pretty much similar when it comes to the flatness on the sides. And comparing it to the OP1 8KV2, obviously the OP1 being a lot more narrower at the sides, as you can see, compared to the A9 Mini, which is much more wider over here at the sides. And I would say the biggest similarity between the two are basically just the overall length. And in my opinion, like I said, I do really like the shape on the ATK A9. I think that it is just a very good and comfortable shape, and obviously, like I said earlier, it is arguably even better than a standard GPX shape. Now, should you buy the ATK A9 Mini Plus? I would definitely recommend trying this mouse out, especially if you are looking for a smaller, more budget-friendly Superlight, or if you're looking for a more budget-friendly Superlight 2C. I think the mouse is just a really good and comfortable shape, and in my opinion, even better than a standard GPX shape, which is also very comfortable, but I personally don't like it since it is a little bit too big for my style of grip. And overall, the A9 Mini is just an amazing mouse, and big credits to ATK making this clone of the GPX 2C. Now that's pretty much it for my review of the ATK A9 Mini Plus. Now if you guys want to check this mouse out, I'll make sure to leave a link down in the description below to where you can get this, as well as some links to my affiliates and discount codes for other brands. Now if you guys enjoyed this review, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It helps a lot for the channel and for me to be able to make more videos like this for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.